What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade coming to y'all with a fan question, and this has been a popular topic the last couple months, especially when the Phoenix Suns was eliminated from the play-in tournament in the playoffs, and it was looked at as a failed season because they had Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. They kept changing the roster a lot the last couple years to try to figure out a way to win with both of those star players, and they just couldn't do it. And they actually had one of the worst seasons that none of us even seen coming, because most of the people had them as a playoff team and they didn't even win 40 games this year or even 500. They just couldn't even do that. And nobody really seen that happen. And nobody really seen that being the case coming into this season. And by the end of the season, a lot of people were saying, like, if the Suns want to continue to build around Booker, or the Suns want to be able to compete again, they might need to get rid of Kevin Wayne Durant. And it sounds crazy because he was one of the players that everybody wanted. He's one of the most influential players of this generation. He has really showed that he can fit in with any team because his ability to space the floor, because his ability to get his own baskets, and because he can be a clutch player too. If you need somebody to take a shot, you know that he can always get his own without nobody setting him up. Plus, he can play off the ball and still be a guy that can be in the play. And if it gets passed to him, he can make a good decision, even if it's passing or just scoring. But this is a question that needs to be answered by me because so many people want to know what I think about it. And as a guy that believed in Kevin Durant back in the day, especially in his OKC days and his Golden State days, even in Brooklyn days, I'm looking at like, this is a great player. He's one of the hardest players to stop. He's one of the hardest players to, get a hold of, because this guy's going to always find a way to bust your butt. And it has happened so many times. But things start changing when you get injured. Things start changing when you get older. And I think that that's one thing that we do have to look at. Kevin Durant has been on teams where they have had other stars. He has been on teams where they have had multiple stars, and they still kind of flopped in success. I know you can play the shoulda, woulda, coulda game where this could happen, this could happen. If this would happen, that would happen. But if they didn't win it, they didn't win it. They didn't get it done. They didn't get it done, even if it's legit reasons why it didn't happen. But now we're looking at an older player, and we're looking at a guy that's going to take a lot of your money. And if you're going to trade for him, he's most likely going to take a lot of your assets too. But he's 36 years old and he's going to be 37 going into next season because his birthday is in September. And you have to look at it like, is he really changing our culture for the better? Is he really helping us win more games? Is he really getting us closer to our goal? That's what Phoenix thought that they was getting when they traded for him, and it didn't happen. That's what Brooklyn thought they was getting when they was waiting to sign him and Kyrie. They eventually did it. They didn't win a ring or even come close to it either. And this has been one of the biggest letdowns, is that a lot of people have respect for his game and respect for him as a player because he don't give you no reason not to, but he's just not giving you the same success that he was giving you when he was younger. And obviously, I think he was a better defender. I think he had better IQ. I think that he had more things he wanted to prove, so he was a little hungrier. And I also feel like now he's more comfortable with, like he said before, and I didn't respect it when he said, I just want to come to Brooklyn and have fun. You just came from 3 NBA finals, and you still one of the best players and still looked at one of the best players in the world. And you looking at having fun with Kyrie Irving on your roster. You supposed to say, man, we just got done on a run with Golden State. Now I want to prove that I can still be the best player on this team and lead the team to a title. And that's what he should have in his mentality for the Brooklyn Nets. He didn't have that. He looked at like, I did what I wanted to do. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And now I can just go about my career like championships don't matter. Winning doesn't really matter as long as I'm hooping and having fun and enjoying the game. Well, he can think that way. He can be honest about it. That's what he likes and that's what he wants to be about. He can think that way and he can feel that way, but the fans is always going to hate him for that. And that's why nobody's really showing a lot of love to Kevin Durant. And going to Golden State, he already turned into a little bit of a villain because people thought he was that great. People looked at him up there with the LeBron James and the Kobe Bryants at those times as this guy is so great offensively. This guy is a one of a kind, one-on-one type of player. We need to find a way to get this guy a championship. And like I said, that's why that 2012-13 finals was that way, because they looking at it like the only person on LeBron LeBron level is probably Kobe, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, Dwight Howard, and Kevin Wayne Durant. But he's in a different conference, and he took a tough path to get there. But it didn't really matter because they didn't get it done, and people thought that that was a future dynasty, and that's part of his career too. Is like you didn't get it done in OKC, you didn't get it done in Brooklyn, you struggled even in Phoenix. And I know people gonna say, well, he's not the same Kevin Durant because of the injuries. He had one of the worst injuries you can get as a basketball player. I understand that, and that is true. But ain't that a good reason to stay with the Warriors? Because you can play with Steph and Clay and they make your job easier, not more difficult, and you can still win at a high level. And you already filthy rich, so you didn't really need the money. You could take a little bit of a pay cut like you did before to get there to win the championships. And you came there to win championships, and you actually did that. And then you went, like I said, to 3 straight NBA finals, and you had a chance to win another one, and you could have three-peated. And the last team that did that was Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe, and it hasn't been done since. That's the type of duo they had. That's the type of team that they had. And for you to throw all of that away just to have fun just didn't make sense to me as a fan. And I lost a little respect for that. You know, like I don't really know what this guy is really trying to do. I don't really know what he's about. Some of his interviews don't say a lot. He's trying to say he's not as great as he once was. I think that's what he's trying to say. I'm not that player that y'all think I am, but it just comes with everybody watching you and looking at you and saying, you're Kevin Durant. Like Patrick Beverly and Lou Williams said, you're Kevin Durant. This guy can score. This guy can do his thing on anybody, and it's damn near impossible to stop the guy. And it's still the case. And that's why we look at it right now. One of the people that's always mentioned this entire summer is Kevin Durant. Who's going to get Kevin Durant? Who should trade for Kevin Durant? And even though people might talk about Giannis more than Durant because he is younger, he does have a more healthier record. He is a two-way player, and he's still one of the most dominant players too. It makes sense for people to have Giannis over Durant this free agency and in this trade class this year. But Kevin Durant hasn't really, the last season that he played 80 games or close to that was almost a decade ago. Well, you can say that now. The last time he played 70 games was 2 years ago. This year, he only played 62 games for this season that just ended. And it's like he can do the same similar type of things. He can still hold his own against anybody. He still is a tough guy that you don't really want to have nothing to do with because he can still put you in that straight jacket and see what you can really do to him. But he's just not moving that needle. He's just not that guy that's going to put you over the top. He's just not that guy that's going to take you to the next level. And so many teams look at him that way, and he never really got there. People going to say he rode the bandwagon of the Warriors, and if he didn't do that, he probably wouldn't even be a champion. And it's starting to age well, you know, but that's why he did it, because he wanted to win a championship, and it ended up working out for him that way. Now, was it the easiest way to do it? Well, you went to the best team, and you actually was able to accomplish that goal, and you was actually the best player on that team for those 2 years, and you can possibly say 3 straight years because you knew what he probably could have did in the NBA Finals, because even the Raptors didn't really have much to do to be able to stop him either, but that's just how great of a player that he is. But I'm just going to answer that question to people like, I just don't think Kevin Durant is going to change anything that you really do. You know what I mean? The Phoenix had to learn that the hard way. They gave up so much of their future and their youth just to go all in on an older guy that does fit well with Devin Booker offensively, but he didn't really push Devin Booker. He didn't really make him that much of a greater player. He didn't really give him the success that you may have thought that could have. And that's a disappointment. But Kevin Durant, when you look at his career and you look at what he's been able to accomplish and you look at the things that he was able to do, he's definitely one of the greatest to ever do it. That's why he was a top 75 player and was celebrated as such. But, you know, his levels to this game, and he has a certain thing that he can do very well. He sticks to it. It works out for him. It usually helps him, you know, stay at peace and helps him be comfortable in his career. I think at first he was a little agitated what people were saying about him, people was feeling about him. Now he's starting to tone it down a little bit. He's starting to accept it a little bit. And now he's just not as demonstrative as he was before at certain things. But I always said that as a person that knew him back in the day, you just have to accept what people have to say. You made these decisions, there's pros and cons to the decisions, and you just have to go back and look at it like, well, I learned from this, I learned from that. Hopefully I can learn and make better decisions in the future and in the present, and not worry about what I did in the past. The Golden State legacy is always going to live with them. The Brooklyn Net legacy is always going to be a part of him, and obviously the Phoenix and the Thunder too. But Kevin Durant has had a career where when we was rooting for him and when we was going for him to be the best or to prove that he was the best, he has failed us more times than he has not. You know what I mean? So if you're trading for Kevin Durant to be your one B, it doesn't really usually work out for you. And if you have him as your 1A at this point of his career, he's a little too old. You know, he has shown that he can't stay on the court. He has shown that, and when you get older, your body can break down and betray you a lot more, is what I'm saying. That not because he's just injury prone, because it's not the case, but he has had, you know, time to prove to us if he can lead a team by doing it the hard way, the difficult way, the frustrating way. But he has shown us that he's still a champion. He's still one of the greatest players ever. He's still a player that's fun to watch and enjoyable. He's still one of the better players in the world. He just hasn't been able to get the teams over the hump the way that you think that he should. He hasn't really led the way that you think that he should lead. And he hasn't really been able to figure out how to contribute in more ways that's needed to change that narrative, or even change the way people look at him, or even change his teammates to get the best out of them so they can get the best out of him, so that they can go out there and ball out with him and be able to win games that's needed to have a great record again and be able to be in a good position to get to the finals and win another championship. His head game just don't seem like he's in it to win championships anymore. It just seems like he's enjoying the game. He loves the game. He's always going to be that way, but he's also fine with the fact that he's not winning more championships, or he's not in a position to win the championship. So he said that when he got, you know, Kyrie, I'm not really focused on that anymore. I don't think championships is the end all be all for me. And if he's going to feel that way and he's going to talk that way, why would I want to trade for him when that's my goal? Why would I want him when that's my goal? And that's my biggest problem with Kevin Durant. Since he said it in the public and he said it in the open, and he was being completely honest about it, is like, if I'm getting Kevin Durant and we're not getting to the highest of the heights, there's no point in trading with him. I'm not going to pay this guy all this money and deal with this guy and everything that comes with it if we're not accomplishing the ultimate team goal, which is the whole purpose of the NBA, which is to win the championship. If we're not doing that, I don't see the purpose of getting rid of most of my roster to get this guy, and we're just stuck in mediocrity. We're just stuck being a playing team, or we're just stuck being barely a playoff team as a 7 or 8 seed. If we're not succeeding and we're not running the game and we're not dominating the game like he did with the Golden State Warriors, there's no point of adding him, because we can do that without him by getting some good guys or developing guys like the Thunder did and the Pacers did, and you can even say the Celtics did, and on and on and on about other teams in the past, and also still to this day. It just makes no sense to go in that direction. Why will we want this guy when he's just doing the minimum as a star? He's just doing enough to be one of the better players in the league, and not enough to push that needle to be dominant and great when you need him the most. And Phoenix Suns is another example. When the Suns traded for Kevin Durant, I didn't think they was going to do much. I was like, nah, y'all crazy because Kevin Durant, y'all going to buy into the hype. Y'all going to think he's going to do this. He's going to think he's going to do that. His run with the Suns is basically over already, and they didn't have too much success. When he went to the Nets, it was different because he was coming off an injury, a major injury, a life-changing injury, a basketball-changing injury. And we do have to give him credit for putting in a lot of work to be able to get back to an all-star level, to get back to being one of the best players in the league type of level, which is hard to do, but he was able to accomplish it because his love for the game and his ability to want to be great, and the ease that he has because of the work he has put in before to be able to get back to where he was close to, which is one of the most dominant scorers in NBA history. But if we're going to be honest about it, if you're trying to look at Kevin Durant as a guy that you really feel can come in and help you, I just got to tell you to be cautious, because this guy might not make you the team that you think you can be. He might not help you get to where you want to be, and you're going to have to give up so many assets. And even if you don't want to give up a lot of assets, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money in the future to be in a situation where you might not be winning nothing significant when it comes to team awards. And all I can say is that's a waste. That doesn't make sense. And if he's still playing for fun and he's not trying to go out on top, it makes no sense for you to get involved in that. It makes no sense for you to go out there and prioritize that when this guy has shown that he's just thinking different and he feels different and he's going about the game different when it comes to the highest level of competition and going against the best teams and the best players, which is the playoffs. He's just going to go out there and do his part. He's going to be fine whether y'all win or lose, and he's not going to really push you to go harder and do more. And that's what you need people to do if you're trying to get to something you never accomplished, which what the Nets was trying to do with him and Kyrie. And obviously the Suns was trying to do it because they never won a championship in NBA history. They thought Kevin Durant would be the perfect piece to be able to get them over the top, and it hasn't even came close to that. And that's unfortunate. But OKC going to always look at it, now that we see them in the finals, and now that we see Shea possibly most likely going to win a championship, we just look at it like what could have been is what they always say. What we need to do is say that's the past. Enjoy the player that you got now, love the player that you got now, love the team that you got now, because they can possibly be a dynasty. And the Suns going to look at it the same way. We're only going to get rid of Kevin Wayne Durant to a team that gives us a good haul back for us to still be successful and still have a good future, which they already had before they made that trade. Now they got to find a way to get that type of gift or trade back. And it's going to be tough to do that because people are going to look at it like he's an aging star and he's worth a lot of money. And yes, he can help you win some games, but can he help me win the championship? And the question to me is no. And that's why I would tell anybody you have to be cautious being a fan of his, because if he's not helping you win a title, what's the point of having a superstar if he can't help you do that? And he has shown more times than not that he's not that type of player that can get it done. I know most great players did lose finals. I know most great players did fail before. I know a lot of great players have not, even made it to the finals or made it and haven't made it back. But this guy, at the point of his career and how he has been playing lately the last couple of years, I would say I wouldn't be in a rush to get the guy. No disrespect, all love, but at this point in his career, he's getting more towards the end. He's getting more phased out. He's getting more comfortable where his career is at and how people look at him, how people think about him. And I'm not saying that's wrong, and I'm not saying that's not what he should do, but that's what he should be doing at 37 years old coming into the season. And if that guy's not pushing the needle and not getting you where you need to get, there ain't no point even making that move to get him. And I think that that's something that's just being honest, as a person that was a big fan of his and as a person that still respect them as one of the best players in the league. It just doesn't make sense to do that anymore for a guy that's on his way almost out of the league and still trying to get as much joy as he can out of the game. But if I'm not winning with him, or he's not taking us to the promised land or helping us get there, there's no point of us making the move to get him. You might feel that way because you respect him as a player and you know what he can do. But if we're not getting over that hump and getting it done, it's pointless, in my personal opinion, and a waste of time, at the end of the day. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more analysis. And if you're new to the channel, do conversation videos just like this with various NBA only topics. I'll do breakdown with real footage of legend, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. I'll do my draft and draft coverage. So you love that type of stuff, this is the channel for you. You will love it. You will enjoy it. You will need it, especially if you're an NBA fan, especially if you love basketball too, because there's a lot of things you can learn on this channel that most channels don't teach you or most channels don't bring up for whatever the reason is. I don't worry about it. I don't worry about my own. Other than that, I got over 3,000 videos already on my channel that you can watch and enjoy. And I also make videos basically every single day that I'm living, so it'll always give you something to watch and be entertained by if you're an NBA or a basketball fan. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed your day. Hope you guys stay blessed up. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Back to the work day, back to the grind, and back to, getting a little rest and getting a little leisure and also having a little fun to the best of your ability. Other than that, hope you guys stay blessed up. I'm gone for now. Thank y'all for appreciating the content. Thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting over the years or still to this day, even in the future, if you do that. And also, thanks for watching. I'm gone. Peace out.